Namaste, beautiful yogis. Welcome to level 2, 3 Vinyasa yoga sequence. Today we're gonna focus on balancing, standing balancing poses, core strength, core stability. Let's set the intention for this class. Let's stay here at the front of our mats for a moment and contemplate our journey as souls, our paths as energy clusters. And before we begin, let's take a moment to set an intention for the class. Let's bring our hands over our hearts. Take a deep breath in. And focus on the intent for the class. The path we as humans walk every day isn't easy. It's filled with uncertainties, insecurities, and doubt. We all hope that this journey we're on together brings us contentment, crystal clarity, understanding of the essence of all things, and those wonderful feelings of connectedness and liberation. People we cross paths with can greatly affect the outcome of our journey. And sometimes we come across some truly amazing people and we share a brief moment of eternity with them, and they leave imprints so deep that you can't help but see them in everything you come across thereafter. And every time you turn around and look back and remember the steps that got you to where you're at now, you see those souls and you can't help but smile. And then the steps you're taking start setting heavier and deeper into the ground, and pain and suffering and sadness and loss sets in. So feeling conflicted, you keep going and you keep learning and you keep growing and you keep knowing, and the knowing liberates you, frees your soul, and wipes you clean again, so you can again experience pure joy in spite and because of all that your soul has been through. And your path is what lets your true you shine through. And let's begin the practice at the front of our mats. Bring your feet hip width apart, hands over the heart. Lifting the kneecaps up, extending the tailbone down and making a connection with your core. Inhale, firm the belly. Exhale and allow your feet to sink in deep into your mat. Inhale, lift your hands over your head. Arch. Feel your feet sinking further in as you exhale. And let's fold forward, diving to the floor, forward bend. Hands on the shin bones, inhale, look ahead of you. Hands on the floor, step back plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, hold. Back to chaturanga and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. And let's come into a chaturanga and bring the knee to the right elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And step your right foot between your hands. Come up. High lunge. Lower down the left knee on the floor and arch. Crescent. Exhale your hands on the floor. Lift the back knee off the floor and step back plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. And look between your hands, come forward, chaturanga, knee in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and step your foot between your hands, come up, high lunge. Extending the tailbone down, lower the right knee on the floor, crescent, reach back. Exhale, hands on the floor, lifting the back knee off the floor, step back plank, chaturanga, hold. Inhale, upward facing dog, hold. Chaturanga and exhale, downward facing dog. And you can shift your hips side to side here, lifting the hips as high as you can. Inhale, right leg comes up. Exhale, right foot between your hands, come up, high lunge. And let's reach in front of us, flat back, chest over the right thigh. Left hand on the floor, spin the right arm up, twist. In keeping the twist, come up to standing, keep the lunge and look over to your right. Let's walk the right hand down the left leg. Inhale back forward to center. And let's bring the left hand on the floor. Spin on the outer edges of your feet here. And let's take star side plank. Left shoulder over the left wrist. Optional is to grab your foot behind you. Tuck your tailbone under. And from here, still holding your foot, you can flip over into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, chaturanga, downward facing dog. Spread the fingers wide open, take the left leg up. Step the left foot between your hands, come up, high lunge. Pull the belly in. And let's reach forward, chest over the left thigh. And you can bring your right hand on the floor, spin the left arm up, press the back heel away from you and come up, twisting here. Walk the left hand down the right leg. Slowly come back up. And let's bring the right hand on the floor, spin on the outer edges of your feet. Feel your hips here. Hip opener. And let's take star side plank. Hips on top of each other. Breathe. Either stay here or grab your foot behind you. Work with your breath. Slowly flip over into plank. Chaturanga. Hold. Upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga. Exhale in downward facing dog. Lifting the hips as high as you can, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale the right leg up. Step the right foot between your hands and come up. High lunge. And let's reach forward. Transition into warrior three. Level the hips with the floor. Relax your shoulders, bend the right knee and step back in high lunge. One more time, reach in front of you, transition into warrior three. One step if you can. And step back into high lunge. And again, transition, warrior three, high lunge. Breathe. Hands on the inside of the right foot. You can walk your right foot to the outer edge of your mat. Tuck your tailbone under and stretch your hip flexor here. And let's bring the left knee on the floor, bend the knee, straighten the right leg and lower your chest over your leg. Hands on the floor, step back plank, chaturanga, upward dog. Back to chaturanga, exhale, downward facing dog. Take the left leg up. Step the left foot between your hands. Come up, high lunge. Soften your breath, deepen your breath. And let's bring the chest over the left thigh and transition into warrior three. I found it really interesting to work on a really soft surface with the leaves on the ground. Step back into high lunge because it activates different muscles. And back to warrior three and back into high lunge. One more time. Warrior three. Level the hips, flex your back foot and step back, high lunge. And let's bring the hands on the inside of the left foot. Walk your left foot to the outer edge of your mat. Press the back heel away from you and really tuck your tailbone under. And let's lower the right knee on the floor, straighten the left leg and lower your chest over your left leg, bringing the hips back. Great, hands on the floor, step back plank, chaturanga, hold. Upward facing dog. And back to chaturanga and exhale, downward facing dog. Great. Let's lift the hips as high as we can, bend the knees and jump into chair. At the front of your mat, sit as deep as you can. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing, hands over the heart. Alright, warmed up. Inhale your hands over your head. Exhale, diving forward. Grab your calves if you can. Inhale, hands on the shin bones, look ahead of you. Hands on the floor, jump back into Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And back to Chaturanga. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. And we're gonna bring the right knee to the left elbow in Chaturanga. So shifting your shoulders forward, belly in. We'll do this 5 times. 1, back to downward dog. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back to downward facing dog. Look between your hands and step your right foot between your hands. Come up, high lunge. Hands over the heart, left elbow to right knee. Open your chest, hands in prayer. Relax your shoulders and keep pressing the back heel away from you. That's where your balance lays. And you can wrap your hands underneath your leg and behind you, clasping. Either stay here or step forward and come standing on your left foot, still holding your clasp. See if you can straighten your right leg in revolving bird of paradise, looking back and reversing the movement. Stepping back down and taking the left leg back while still holding your clasp. And release the clasp, take high lunge. Exhale your hands on the floor, step back, one-legged Chaturanga, upward facing dog, Chaturanga, downward facing dog. And let's take the left leg up, square the hips, bring the knee to the opposite elbow in Chaturanga. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back to one-legged downward dog. Step your left foot between your hands, come up, high lunge, pressing the back heel straight up and away from you. Hands over the heart, right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Open your chest, drop the shoulders. You can stay here or you can progress into the next level, clasping the hands behind you. You can stay here or go to the next level, step the back foot in, stepping on the right foot, begin to come up, holding your hands behind you in a clasp. Once you're standing, see if you can straighten halfway or all the way that left leg and see if you can look back. And slowly step back down, still holding your clasp, step back into lunge. Release your clasp and reach over your head. Exhale your hands on the floor. Step back, one-legged downward facing dog, one-legged Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Back to Chaturanga and exhale in downward facing dog. We're going to bring the left hand to the center of the mat. Bring your right hand to your left ankle and look under your left shoulder. And switch. A little spinal twist here. Spreading the fingers open. And back into downward facing dog. Let's come on to the tippy toes, look between your hands and jump into chair. Sit back into your chair. Bring your hands behind you, clasping, open the front of the shoulders. Still holding your chair pose, open the right shoulder up. Chest opens, spine elongates. And switch sides, opening to the left. Back to center, come up to standing, arch, hands over the third eye and over the heart. Inhale your hands over your head. Clasping the hands, reach over to your right, side bend. Back to center and over to your left, lengthening through both hands here. And back to center, exhale your hands on the floor. Forward bend. Inhale, look ahead of you, hands on the floor, step back into plank. Pressing the heels away from you, keep the chest open. Spread the fingers open, keep your belly in. And let's shift into side plank on the left side, left hand on the floor. Reach with your right hand up and over your head. And you can stay here or you can transition into tree pose. Side plank. Stay here or you can grab your big toe and straighten your leg either all the way or halfway. From here, another transition, you're gonna bring your foot to the front of your mat in a low lunge. Great, hands on the floor, step back plank, chaturanga, upward dog, chaturanga. And side plank with the right hand on the floor, stack the feet on top of each other, lift your hips. Reach with your left hand up and over your head and really find a lot of length along the top of your body. Tree pose, side plank, squeezing the foot into the inner thigh. Stay here or grab your big toe and open your leg up. And let's shift the leg, the foot to the front of the mat into a low lunge. And step back into plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. And take a look at the screen demonstrating the next pose. Knee forward in plank, touching both elbows and back to down dog. 1, 2, 3. Keep your belly firm. 4 and 5. And just step your foot between your hands this time and come up high lunge. And let's bring the left hand on the left hip, right hand to left leg in front of us. Grab the big toe and twist. Hands in prayer, transition into warrior three. And step all the way back. Foot alignment is for warrior one. Take warrior one, bending the right knee. Square the hips forward. Let's bring the hands over the heart. Take a little wider stance, sink a little deeper, warrior two. Soften the breath. Straighten the front knee, reach way ahead of you. And triangle pose, lowering the right hand over the right shin bone. Really lengthening through the crown of the head here, lengthening both sides of the torso, lifting the kneecaps and spinning open the left hip. Reach with your left hand up and over your head, and let's bring both hands on the floor. And squaring the hips, lower down into half splits, as far down as you can, keeping the hips square. If you can go into a full pose, great, reach over your head, otherwise stay where you're at. And to come out of it, place your hands on the floor and glide your leg back. Plank Chaturanga, upward facing dog, back to Chaturanga, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, take the left leg up and we're gonna bring the knee forward, touch the elbows, one, touch both elbows, two, third time, four, and five. And this time bring your foot between your hands and come up high lunge. Breathe. Hands over the heart. And let's come to warrior three, standing on the left leg. Level the hips. Bending the left knee, step back. Warrior one. Press into the outer edge of your right foot. Keep pressing the right hip forward. Hands over the heart, open in warrior two, sink a little deeper and open the right hip, externally rotating the right hip. Straightening both legs, reach way ahead of you. With your left hand, lengthen both sides of your torso and lower down, extended triangle pose. Keep your shoulders relaxed and away from your ears. Keep the arches of the feet lifted. Reach with your top arm up and over your head. You can look at your fingers. And let's square the hips and bring the hands on the floor, working towards splits. Reach over your head. Exhale your hands on the floor and as gracefully as you can glide out of this. Downward facing dog. And let's cross the feet, bring the legs in front of us, coming into a seated. Inhale your hands all the way over your head, flex your feet. Exhale, forward bend. Keep flexing your feet here. If you can reach your feet, pull your toes back in towards you. This is gonna get your calves to your ankles. You're getting the opportunity to stretch the entire back side of your legs. Inhale, reaching over the head, coming up, and let's lift the legs off the floor, keeping the knees at 90 degrees. Hands together, reaching side to side, touching the floor on each side by your hip. Keep the curve in your lower back. Keep your chest open, keep your belly in. Breathe. And you can, when you're resting from this pose, you can bring your knees in and realign your lower back. And here I'm gonna continue with bicycles. Elevated bicycles, opposite elbow to knee. Keep your belly in, lower back curve, chest open. And drive this movement from your core. Definitely do not pull on your neck with your hands here. Make sure that the movement comes from your core. And let's bring the soles of the feet together. Bound angle pose. Great. Next pose, hip opener. Bringing the right foot into the left inner elbow or left forearm or left hand. Flex your right foot, flex your left foot and press your left leg down. And keep bringing the right leg in, right knee away from you. Next pose, again a hip opener. Bring your right foot on the outside of the left leg. Bringing the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Exhale and soften your belly, open the chest. And as you soften the belly, go a little deeper in this twist. Slowly coming out of this inhale. And let's bring the right foot in half lotus. If you can't do half lotus, you can bring your foot on the inside of your left thigh. Inhale up and exhale forward bend. Inhale coming out of this. This is optional here. Bending the left knee, left foot on the floor, wrapping the left arm around that leg and clasping behind, bending forward. This is an Ashtanga pose. So feel free to stay at any of the previous levels of this pose. It takes quite a bit of flexibility. And coming back up, let's come into a seated one more time. And one more time, bring your right foot into your left inner elbow. Second time, holding this hip opener. Flex your right foot. Flexing both feet, but the right foot is to protect your knee. And release. Let's change sides. Bring the left foot into your inner elbow. Flex your feet, working the left knee away from you. Right foot flexing. Left foot flexing, bringing it closer to you as you deepen this hip opener. Keep your chest open. Release the foot on the floor on the outside of the right leg. And let's bring the right elbow on the outside of the left knee, twist. Exhale, soften your belly. Open the chest. Inhale, coming back out of this half lotus or foot in the inner thigh. Reaching over the head, exhale, forward bend, allowing your foot to massage your abdominal wall here if you're deep enough in the forward bend. Great, and we're gonna again optional bend that right knee. Step your foot by your right hip, clasp behind, bend forward. Coming out of this, one more time, bring your left foot into your inner elbow or right forearm or right hand and feel your hip. Great, we're gonna finish off with some abdominal work. So here I'm gonna place my feet on the tree. You can use a wall and begin to lower down and come back up, V-ups. Use a really controlled movement here. Keep your belly as firm and in, pressing in as much as you can. Keep your chest open. And release. And let's come into a comfortable seated position, cross-legged seated position. Bring your hands over your third eye and over your heart. And let's bring the hands over the knees, palms facing forward, touching the index finger to the thumb. Close your eyes, keeping the chest open, allowing the sitting bones to sink into the mat, and allowing your breath to flow unobstructed. And stay here for as long as you need to, allowing yourself to be at one with yourself, not in a rush, not in a hurry, but just here, present, aware, following the breath. Feeling expansion with each inhalation and feeling more and more grounded as you exhale. Letting go as you exhale and opening the heart as you inhale. Namaste.